Hi everyone, Mega Shorts here, bringing you another Doctor Who 5-inch scale action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Holographic 10th Doctor figure, which was exclusive to last year's Doctor Who 50th anniversary convention and also a BBC Shop exclusive. I got this figure as a Christmas present last year, and I think it came from the BBC Shop for £12, but I'm not completely sure about that. Now usually at this point in each of my reviews I talk about the packaging that the figure I'm talking about comes in. But this figure didn't really come in any packaging. It came in a rather small plastic bag, which was okay. It kept the figure nice and secure. When I got the figure out of the stocking, it didn't seem to have any problems, and the plastic bag didn't seem to be damaged. But I do think it would have been nice if it came with a proper box like the previous Doctor Who action figures. And seeing as it is a limited edition out of 5,000, I think it would have been nice if it came with a number telling you which one it was as well, because I know they have done that with a lot of Comic-Con exclusive figures in the past. So yeah, maybe not the best packaging, but it's okay and it keeps the figure nice and safe. Okay, so here we have the holographic 10th Doctor figure. Now this particular figure is based on the holograms of the 10th Doctor we saw in Doomsday and Blink, and like many of the previous 10th Doctor figures, this particular variant does use the same sculpt as the original 10th Doctor figure that was released back in 2006. Now, in order for this figure to look like a hologram from the show, it has been made out of quite an unusual translucent type plastic, which has got quite a few parts that appear to be light blue. I'd say because of these light blue parts, this particular figure does look more like the hologram of the 10th Doctor we saw in Blink than the one in Doomsday. The one we saw of the 10th Doctor in Doomsday was pretty much how we normally see the 10th Doctor, or how we normally saw him, but just a bit transparent. But the one we saw of him in Blink, to me, looked more like a hologram out of Star Wars with blue clothes and blue skin. So yeah, even though people say this particular figure is based on the holograms we saw in Doomsday and Blink, to me it seems to be based more on the one from Blink out of the two holograms we saw in those stories. Now, like all the previous 10th Doctor figures from Character Options, the holographic 10th Doctor figure has got a great likeness to David Tennant. I'm really pleased with the head sculpt on this figure. I love the way it looks. It's not really got a great deal of paintwork on it, as you can see, and this is obviously because it's made to look like a hologram. But there are still some parts of it that have been painted, like the eyes, which have been painted with a bit of light grey, and I think the hair's been painted with the same colour as well. From the side, I'd say this head sculpt looks like something off of a coin. It's a very weird looking figure because of this material, but I do really like it for being like that. His nose seems to be quite dark blue compared to the rest of the head sculpt, but from the front it doesn't seem to be, so that's alright. Does seem to be a bit of glitter on the head sculpt as well. It's very tiny, but you can see it if you take a look at it up close. So yeah, pretty good head sculpt. I'm really happy with it. Surprised they didn't go with the more recent 10th Doctor head sculpt that they've been using over the past few years. But I'm quite happy with this one, just the way it is. It's quite a good head sculpt. The costume on this figure is also really nice. It's got quite a bit of detail. We can see that it's got plenty of creases, making it look very accurate and lifelike. And it's also got a really nice load of pinstripes which have been painted with silver rather than the usual light grey or light blue. I'm really glad that they've been painted silver for this figure, even though it's not completely accurate. I think it does work quite well with this particular figure. Most of them do look quite nice. Quite a few of them go down to his Converse trainers like they do in the show, but there are some of them which have collided and crossed over in a few places. We can see here just above one of the pockets that a couple of them have collided and they're sort of next to each other, and there's one on his left arm here which has gone over another, which is a little bit disappointing, but I guess that's just a problem with my figure. Some other bits of detail that I haven't already mentioned on this figure include some buttons on the front of the suit here, some buttons on the end of his sleeves, and also his tie, which for this figure has just been painted one colour. I think it would have been nice if they gave it a transparent look like most of the other parts of the figure, and it would have been nice if it had some patterns on it like most of the previous 10th Doctor figures, but it's okay, it's not too bad just the way it is. His trousers are pretty much the same as usual as well. They've got quite a few creases just like the top part of the suit, and then at the bottom here we've got these really nice Converse shoes which have got quite a few more creases and the detail of the laces. So from head to toe, this is a pretty nice figure for detail. I've not really got a lot of problems with the detail on this figure. It's just the paintwork that lets it down a little bit. Would have been nice if it had some detail on the tie like the previous 10th Doctor figures, and I would have liked the suit a bit more if some of the pinstripes didn't collide as much. But it's still a really nice looking figure and I'm really happy with it. Moving on to articulation now. His head can go from side to side. The arms can do a 360-degree turn from the shoulders, and they can also bend up at the elbows. There's also a joint at the waist where he can turn 360 degrees. His legs can also move outwards and inwards from the top. They can also go backwards and forwards on the top, and they can bend at the knees. So the articulation for this 10th Doctor figure is pretty much standard. It's not as good as the articulation we've seen on other Doctor Who action figures in recent years, and I think it would have been nice if character gave him some bicep swivel joints or a couple of wrist swivel joints. But it's okay. It's not too bad if you just want to do scene recreations of this figure, because when we did see the 10th Doctor holograms in Doomsday and Blink, he was pretty much just standing still like this. He wasn't doing any big fancy action poses or anything like that, but I think it would have been nice if he did have some more joints so that we could do a bit more with him. And now the time has come for me to give a summary of my thoughts on this figure. I'm quite pleased with the holographic 10th Doctor figure. I think it's a really nice addition to my Doctor Who action figure collection, and it's nice to see such a unusual 10th Doctor variant in the line now. I wouldn't say this is one of the best 10th Doctor figure variants, but it is probably one of the most interesting. I love the way character have made this figure look like a hologram of the 10th Doctor. I really like the material they've used, and I like the way they've given it colour in a few places. The detail on this figure is really nice. It's got a great likeness to David Tennant, and the costume has got some really nice detail. Paintwork is pretty good as well, and the articulation is okay. So overall, it is a pretty good figure. If I was to give it a rating out of 10, I'd quite happily give it a 8 out of 10. This is a figure I'd recommend to anyone that is a fan of the 10th Doctor, or anyone that just simply likes the look of this figure. It's a really nice figure for scene recreations, and just a nice figure to have on your shelf as a display item. I have this figure on display with quite a few of my other Doctor Who New Series action figures, and even though it is in the 5-inch scale, it doesn't look like it belongs in the line because of how unusual it looks due to the holographic effect it has, but I really like it like that. To me, it looks like a 10th Doctor ice sculpture. It's a really, really interesting figure. But I do think it could have been a bit better if it did have some more detail, perhaps on the tie, and I would have liked it a bit more if it had some more articulation, like perhaps for the biceps or the wrists. But despite my gripes, I'm still quite happy with this figure, and I'm really glad that I have got it. And like I said before, it is also a limited edition, and there are only 5,000 of these out there, so if you are thinking about getting this figure, make sure you try and get it sometime soon before they sell out. And that is pretty much it for my review of the holographic 10th Doctor figure. Hope you've all enjoyed watching this review. If you want to share your thoughts on this figure, feel free to do so in the comment section below or in a video response. Not sure what my next Doctor Who action figure review is going to be yet, but I am planning on reviewing some more Captain America the Winter Soldier figures, and also a couple of amazing Spider-Man 2 Marvel Legends figures which I got from my local Toys R Us this week. Thanks for watching this review, guys.